What's up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So I am so excited for today's video because today we are talking about the brand new ColourPop No Filter Face Collection. So if you haven't heard, they just released their very own foundation. This is $12 for 42 shades. I don't know of any other foundation collection, whether it be drugstore or high-end, that has that many shades. So they are knocking it out of the water. They have their No Filter Concealer, which has been out for a while. This has 30 shades. This is like $6. I've had this for a while, like at least a couple of months. I haven't really talked about it though. I don't really know why. I have no excuse, but we're gonna be throwing that in there today. They have a new No Filter setting powder. This is a loose setting powder, and then a pressed powder. So I've been testing all this stuff out for about a week now. I've worn everything about 5 times with the exception of the pressed face powder, which I have a good reason for. We'll get into that later. I have oily, acne-prone skin. This is what my face looks like with no products on. And if you guys want to see how this stuff applies and wears throughout the day on me, then please keep watching. So let's talk about their No Filter Matte Foundation first. So like I said, $12, 42 shades. It comes with a pump. This is what it looks like. It's just a standard glass jar. And I will say what's really weird about this is that it doesn't come with a cap. So it's kind of odd because you get it really messy around the squirter. So if you were to travel with this, you may end up like, it may get all over your stuff. So I really don't understand why they didn't throw in like a clear cap or something. They have it broken down really cool. They have it broken down into categories by skin tone and also undertone. So for skin tone, they go by fair, light, medium, medium dark, dark, and deep dark. And then for undertone, neutral, warm, and cool. So you can just click your skin tone and then click your undertone, and it'll just give you the options for what they think would be best for your skin. And their shades, they go from very light to very, very dark. Like their dark shades in the deep dark category are super, super dark. So it says, developed for the selfie age. I hate the selfie age. Our full coverage natural matte foundation delivers flawless looking skin from day to night. The oil-free lightweight formula blends smoothly and is easily customizable to create the coverage you want. It was developed with innovative soft blurring pigments to deliver true color while looking and feeling natural. The lockable pump is easy to use and keeps your routine mess free. As always, 100% cruelty free and vegan. So there are 0.85 fluid ounces of product in here, and I do have an opinion on that. I'm not trying to be nitpicky or trying to overanalyze or just find something to complain about. This is just my thoughts on it. So this is $12. It's pretty on par with other drugstore foundations. As far as affordability goes, it is still pretty affordable. However, the standard amount is 1 ounce. So I don't understand why they're kind of jipping us on that and then also raising the price a little bit. So I got 2 different shades just to make sure that I had the right shade. So I got light 50 and then light 65. So something that I've seen across the board with other reviews and also with these shades is that it seems to be very yellow undertone. Like all the shades seem to be very, very warm. And another thing I've seen like in swatches and also like live reviews is that the shades aren't that different. Like light 50 to light 65. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm gonna hold it back here so maybe you guys can see a little better and not be so washed out, but there's barely any difference between these. So I'm not complaining about the shade range as far as like skin tones go because they do go very dark and very light, but not everyone's a warm golden undertone. I feel like there's not enough differentiation between each shade. Like there's not a big enough jump. Moving on to their No Filter Concealer. This is $6. They have 30 shades, and once again, it's broken down into skin tone and also undertone. So it says, our lightweight creamy concealer is formulated with soft blurring pigments to give you a crease-proof matte finish, no filter needed. So pretty much the same kind of claims as the foundation. The No Filter Loose Setting Powder, this is $9. It comes with 3 shades. They have a translucent, which is what I got. They have a banana shade, which is just a yellow banana powder, and then also a translucent deep for deeper undertones. So I think that's really nice. It says, smooth, weightless, loose powder sets makeup for all day wear without creasing, caking, or flashback. I'm just going to show you what a normal setting powder looks like. This is like the typical amount that you get in a setting powder. I think this is like 3 grams or something, like, yeah, 0.63 ounces of product. This is the Avon loose powder. As you can see, there's a pretty big difference. Let's show you something else that you guys are probably more familiar with. Let's do the Coty Airspun. So yeah, it looks pretty miniature. Here is the Maybelline Fit Me. Not a lot in here. And then we have the No Filter Sheer Pressed Powder. This is $9. This comes in 6 different shades. They have fair, they have light, medium, medium dark, dark, and deep dark. So it says, get easy on the go, fresh and flawless skin with this oil-absorbing sheer buildable pressed powder compact. So it's just your typical compact pressed powder with a little mirror in here. It's a really good size mirror. And you get 0.19 ounces of product. So I feel like that's pretty typical. So I'm going to swatch each of these on the side of my face just to show you guys what each one looks like. So one thing I want to point out is that when I shake it and like even when I swatch it and stuff, the first thing I notice is that it's very, very liquidy. Like it feels very thin. So there's what light 50 looks like, and then here is light 65. So I'm going to hold it back here so it doesn't get washed out. But I don't know if you guys can see, but obviously it is running down my hand, so it is pretty liquidy. But they look the exact same. Like Light 65 maybe looks like a half a shade darker than Light 50, but either one works. So there is Light 50. Light 65 has a little bit more of like a peachiness to it. Not too bad, but it's still pretty golden, obviously. But it has, and they both have kind of like an olivey undertone as well, which works for me, but doesn't work for a lot of people. I usually prefer a sponge, but honestly, with this, I prefer a brush, which is really weird. I've been using the Sigma Flat Kabuki F80, and I've actually been doing this little trick where I spray my brush first. And I think I saw Jaclyn Hill do this a while back. All right, so here's the first layer, and I hope you guys can see how fast it's blended out. It really does blend out nicely. And I would say this is a medium to full coverage, and I don't have a lot to cover up right now. I don't have any active breakouts. My skin is pretty good for the most part, so I can get a full coverage out of this, but full coverage for me, maybe medium or light coverage for you if you have a lot to cover up. But I will say, when this is so watery and liquidy, wait for the first layer to dry before you go into the second layer, because I feel like this foundation, it takes so long to set and dry down, and when you go with the second layer, when the first layer is still wet, it's just like it wants to slip and slide around. It does blend out really fast with the sponge as well. I just feel like it will shear it out quite a bit, and I feel like I get better and faster coverage with the brush. Now I will say a little bit does go quite a ways, because where it is so watery and liquidy, it does spread very well. So there's what it looks like with a sponge, and as you can see, it's a little bit lighter of coverage on this side, not too much, but again, it's kind of hard to tell because I don't have a lot to cover up, but it's still very pretty, it's still very seamless, but I will say, I just feel like a sponge picks up way too much product. Like I said earlier, like it just wants to slip and slide around while it's still drying down. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a time, just so we can go ahead and get the ball rolling. So it is 11:31 right now, so it's gonna be a pretty long wear test day, so I'm just gonna let this dry for a second. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go in for a second layer on this side with the brush. It's not dried down completely, but I'm running late right now, so we need to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back in with my brush and build this up. It just sits on the skin really, really nicely. Okay, so here's the second layer, and as you can see, it pretty much did get me to a full coverage. It's not the highest of coverages, and it does build up really well with a sponge as well, like as long as you let the first layer dry a little bit. But still, I see like sponge marks where it's picking up the product because it's not adhering very well. But we're gonna move on to the concealer. I have two different shades. I have Fair 08 and Light 10. I think these are just one shade apart from each other. And again, they look so similar. Like these, they're not much different at all. Light 10 has more like a golden undertone to it, but here's Fair 08 and then here is Light number 10. And as you can see, they're not that much different. So I think just to show you guys the difference on the skin, I'm gonna do one on each side. So let's do Fair 08 on this side. And this one is pretty pale on me right now, but I can still get it to work. And then here is Light number 10. And I really do like the applicator on this. It's flat and it kind of holds product in the center of it. I really do like it. It's flexible and it's just really soft, and it applies a really good amount of product. As you can see, it blends out really fast. That's really, really bright, but I do like it. I'm kind of more into like a bright under eye lately. But I would say Light 10 is probably a better match for me right now. Pretty good coverage. I would say it's medium coverage right off the bat, but I'm gonna go ahead and build it up a little bit on each side because this is a pretty buildable formula. You can get full coverage out of it. And if you have a super dry under eye area, this might be too dry for you. Sorry, the sun's coming in and out, so it's gonna affect the lighting. But on me, I get very minimal creasing with this, very minimal fading. This is a really, really nice concealer. But yeah, you can definitely build this up. It's a lot more of a fast coverage than the foundation. You can get fuller coverage faster with it. Okay, moving on to the pressed powder. So like I said, I haven't really used this one a whole lot because this one is so dry. And I think it's mine. Like I actually contacted ColourPop to see if they would send me another one because it just seems way too dry. Like it's already getting this little, like this weird film on this, you can't see it. It's getting a weird film on the surface of it. And when I swatch it, I know it's supposed to be sheer, but from what I've seen, like it actually shows up on other people's skin. So I'm gonna use this. This is the shade Fair. I'm gonna use this on the right side. And if you don't set that concealer, it will crease, by the way. So you definitely have to set it. But this doesn't translate onto my skin at all. Like, I guess it's kind of toning it down a little bit. Like, it's kind of toning this concealer side down a little bit. But on this side, I'm going to do the ColourPop powders. And the other side, I'm going to do my normal everyday go-to powders that I know work. I just want to show you guys a couple different things. So on this side, on the normal everyday side, I'm going to use the NYX HD Finishing Powder in the shade Banana to set my under eye area. Moving on to the loose setting powder. I know we're zooming through this really fast. Here's what translucent looks like. It kind of has, oh God, it kind of has like a yellowish tint to it, which I like because it kind of brightens a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see, but it does have really nice sifter holes in it, but it's really messy, but it's so small. Like, I can barely fit a brush into it. It's like I'm working with kids makeup or something. I do like this at first. It looks really nice. It does smooth over the pores. It gives you a very beautiful, like, airbrush finish. It's super soft, very smooth, but it doesn't seem to wear the best on me. Okay guys, I'm back with a full face. My camera shut off because of my memory card, so I had to go ahead and finish up the rest of my face and stuff. So I have bronzer, blush, the whole shebang. And I did finish up this side with my everyday go-to powder. This is the Avon Loose Setting Powder. This is what I showed you guys earlier. Sorry I didn't get to show you guys. I'm in a mad dash right now to get out of the house. But yeah, both sides look equally as good. I mean, I don't feel like one powder did better than the other. It's not too matte. There's still a little bit of a breathable aspect to it, so it's not like a flat matte finish. I feel like it's very comfortable. It feels very lightweight on my skin. I don't even feel like I have anything on right now. So yeah, right now it's looking pretty dang good. It's looking pretty flawless and airbrush. So again, 11:30 is our check-in time. I'll check back in at the end of the night and show you guys how it wore, and we will conclude my thoughts. Alrighty guys, so it's time for our final check-in of the night. It is now 9:49. Here's what everything looks like after 11 hours. And today was really hot. I did sweat. So I am going to insert a clip from earlier. This was around the 8-hour mark. I'm not sure what time it was, but it was around 8 hours because I realized that it's pretty stupid for me to just do like one check-in at the very end of the night, because it may look horrible by 11 hours, but it may look good like at the 8-hour mark or the 9-hour mark. Like maybe it just goes to crap around like the 10-hour mark. You know, I feel like I'm not really doing the wear test justice if I don't show you guys kind of in between a little bit. So yeah, this is around the 8-hour mark. And also, I always forget to mention this in my foundation test videos, and I feel like it's pretty crucial to point this out. I do not do touch-ups. I don't blot, I don't powder, I don't do any kind of correction to my face to counteract any kind of negative reaction, like, you know, oiliness or anything. So the first thing that I've noticed with wearing this foundation several times is that I usually get pretty oily around my T-zone right here, like right in the crevices. Not really so much on my chin or anywhere, but just kind of like in my cheek area. I usually don't get oily or shiny or greasy looking throughout the day. If I do, it's, you know, in my T-zone. The fact that this does make me oily is a big demerit for me, because that is something that's a little bit more abnormal for me. And I also start noticing that around the 6 or 7 hour mark, that's when it kind of starts feeling less lightweight and it starts feeling a little bit more heavy, specifically in the areas where I mentioned that I have like an oilier issue. As far as longevity goes, this is a pretty long wearing foundation. I feel like everything on top of the foundation holds up really well. There's not really a whole lot of settling or creasing into fine lines or pores or anything. Around my nose is the biggest issue that I see, and it's starting to fade off and bunch up, and kind of starting to settle into the pores, like literally right through here, like nowhere else on the rest of my face, but right through there. Even my chin looks pretty good. Like usually I get some settling and fading off on my chin. Actually, it's usually pretty bad, but nothing really there. My upper lip looks pretty good, and I'm constantly applying lip balm and stuff, so it's constantly getting all over my mouth because I don't know how to get it just on my lips. So that's a big plus for me. It looks really good on my forehead. Like, it doesn't look cakey. It looks very seamless. It is sitting on top of the skin really well. But this is not a very matte foundation, so I feel like if you have dry skin, you could probably wear this without powdering it. I just feel like if you have super oily skin, you might want to beware. I feel like that would be the people who will kind of get knocked out of the race for using this foundation the most. So yeah, it's good. It's not my absolute favorite. This might be a better winter foundation for me. As far as the concealer goes, I do like it. It does hold up really well on me. There's very minimal creasing, very minimal fading. Actually, you know what? There is more creasing on this side where I use the, oh, I'm holding it. There's more creasing on this side where I use the pressed face powder from them than there is on the side where I use the NYX. As far as the no filter pressed powder goes, I would say pass on this. There are a lot better face powders out there. This is nothing revolutionary. As far as the no filter loose setting powder goes, I don't think this is a necessity. There's no big difference in my pores as far as them being more minimized or blurred. There's no difference in wear. Both sides look the exact same. Still the same amount of oiliness and weird gathering around my nose on both sides. It might be okay for people with dry skin, but it just didn't do enough mattification around my nose area. So if you have oily skin, definitely pass on this. So yeah, that is it for my ColourPop No Filter Face Collection review. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got some insight and a little bit of direction. If you've tried anything, make sure you give your review in the comments below. Give us your skin type, what you thought about it, all the good stuff, all the deets, because we need to know it. So yeah, I'm not as happy as I thought it would be. I thought this stuff would be revolutionary and miraculous and that it would just be better than everything in my collection, but I'm a little disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, it does look good. Like, this is definitely not a bad makeup day whatsoever. I've seen better, and maybe my expectations were just a little bit too high, but nonetheless, I feel like a lot of people will be able to find their shade, which I'm very grateful for. So if you guys have found your shade in this, like if you found your perfect match and you usually have a really big problem with that, then make sure you let me know in the comments below what your shade is. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel. I have a little button right down there in the corner of the video, and then also hit the notification bell to make sure that you never miss a video from me, because it's a lot of fun. You don't want to miss out. And then once you do that, comment below #partypeople to let me know you're part of my party people squad. And I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.